When it comes to Korean cinema, one genre you can never avoid is the gangster film. The movie we are talking about today is known as the final chapter of the Gangster trilogy, Gangnam 1970. How do two orphans who survive by collecting junk rise step by step through their own means and become the most powerful gang leaders in Seoul? And how do they lose themselves in a world of power, money, and desire, under the dirty deals between politicians and high officials? In the 1970s, Gangnam in Seoul was not yet the glittering playground of the rich. Two boys from an orphanage wander through filthy garbage piles, just to earn the only meal they might get that day. They depend on each other for survival, even splitting one pack of instant noodles in half. They often envy children with real homes, but in truth, this world has never shown them even a little kindness. On the streets, their days are filled with nothing but getting beaten and running away. Luckily, they still have one broken place where they can hide from the wind and rain.
우린 언제 뜨뜻한 아랫목에 한번 자보냐.
When the cold keeps them from sleeping, Yeon-ki stuffs a light bulb under the blanket. And because John Dae is afraid Yeon-ki might get shocked, the two boys start throwing punches at each other just to warm themselves up, until they are completely exhausted and finally fall asleep. But they never expect that even this broken home is about to be taken from them. An excavator crashes through the roof, almost burying both of them alive. When they rush outside, they realize a group of thugs has come to tear down their home by force. To protect the only place they have left, the two boys fight the thugs head-on, but they are badly outnumbered and quickly dragged back. At that moment, a man who looks like a gang boss walks in, and everyone treats him with deep respect. He is Gil-soo, the second-in-command of the Jangan gang. John Dae overhears that they seem to be heading out for a fight but are short on manpower. And right then, Gil-soo turns his eyes toward the two boys.
나랑 같이 서울 좀 갔다 오자.
On the bus, Gil-soo gives everyone their orders. This time, they are going to wreck an opposition party rally. And once they get inside, they have to move fast and finish quickly. They not only give John Dae and Yeon-ki new clothes, but the pay is more than the two boys could earn in an entire month of scavenging. Yeon-ki keeps gulping down the milk they hand out, amazed that joining the underworld could be this good. But his empty stomach soon starts to cramp. The doors burst open, and all the gang members rush into the venue like madmen, hitting people and smashing everything in sight. This scene clearly terrifies the two brothers, who are joining an operation for the first time. And right then, Yeon-ki's useless stomach starts hurting again.
도저히 안 되겠다. 잠깐 갔다 올게.
But just after Yeon-ki walks away, someone charges straight at John Dae, and after taking a hit, John Dae somehow looks completely unharmed. Soon, he also throws himself into the fierce fight. In the middle of the chaos, Gil-soo immediately notices John Dae's fearless, almost reckless fighting spirit. Meanwhile, Yeon-ki is surrounded by a group of men in the restroom. Even though he fights back desperately, he is soon knocked unconscious by a blow from a club. After the mission is done, Gil-soo gives the order, and everyone quickly retreats from the scene. But John Dae still does not see Yeon-ki return, so he pushes back against the fleeing crowd to look for him. By the time he reaches the restroom, Yeon-ki is already gone. News of the violent clash soon appears in the newspapers. Inside an office, three high-ranking figures are panicking over the incident, because not long ago, two assemblymen secretly met with the three most powerful gang bosses in the area. They were Chung Deok-jae's gang, Yang Ji-taek's Myeongdong-pa, and Nam Sun-chul's Jangan gang, three forces that had almost divided the underworld between them. Assemblyman Co, who clearly seems to hold a higher position, says that as long as they can destroy one opposition party rally, they will officially come under his protection, and he will divide the downtown shops equally among the three bosses. Beside him, the man in glasses, Assemblyman Park, also adds that if they run into trouble later, they can come to him for help. Just then, Gil-soo, the second-in-command of the Jangan gang, enters the room. When no one else is around, Gil-soo advises his boss that this incident involves political figures, and there must be hidden danger behind it. But by now, his boss has already been blinded by the huge temptation.
그런 기장으로 건달하겠냐?
What happens afterward is exactly what we already know. But behind those two assemblymen, there is an even bigger boss, Minister Kim. because the opposition party has photographed evidence connected to the incident. Minister Kim demands that someone must step forward and take the blame.
네가 그 논두렁 깡패들 뒷배라며. 박 의원은 당 재정 맡고 있으니까 자네가 사퇴해.
알겠습니다. 지가 총대 매겠습니다.
On the other side, Jeong Dae waits for Young-ki at their old house for 3 days, but Young-ki never appears. He can only go to Gil-soo again, but Gil-soo also has no news about Young-ki. Jeong Dae does not know where his life should go from here, so his only hope is to join Gil-soo. After all, he can fight, and if he stays here, he might also find out where Young-ki went. Gil-soo has already seen something in Jeong Dae from the very beginning. That night, Gil-soo takes Jeong Dae back to his home, and his daughter Seon-hae thoughtfully prepares a warm dinner for him. When Gil-soo hears that Jeong Dae has been an orphan since childhood, he places the egg from his own bowl into Jeong Dae's bowl. That night, the pure and gentle Seon-hae also brings Jeong Dae a new blanket. Touching the warm, heated floor, Jeong Dae feels the warmth of home for the first time. But late at night, a scream cuts through the entire house. When Jeong Dae rushes out, he sees a killer stabbing a blade into Gil-soo's leg. Without saying a word, Jeong Dae charges forward and kicks the killer down. When he sees the killer pick up the blade again, Jeong Dae throws himself in front of Gil-soo and Seon-hae without hesitation. Under Jeong Dae's desperate protection, the killer has no choice but to flee in panic. Luckily, Gil-soo only loses the use of one leg, but his boss Nam Sun-chul is not so lucky. On the day of the funeral, Assemblyman Seo arrives with the other 2 gang bosses. That day, Chang Deok-jae keeps insisting that the killer must have been sent by the opposition party, while Yang Ji-taek also says that he was attacked that same night. Now that the boss is gone, Gil-soo should naturally take over his position, but Gil-soo has long grown tired of the violence and bloodshed of the underworld, so he decides on the spot to disband the Jangon gang. Gil-soo sends everyone away and only takes Jeong Dae and his daughter with him, opening a small laundry shop in the suburbs. He also finds Jeong Dae a factory job. Every month, Jeong Dae immediately hands his wages to Gil-soo, and for a while, life feels calm and stable, but the laundry shop does badly, and loan sharks often come to collect debts. Seeing Gil-soo, who was once so powerful, being humiliated until he cannot even lift his head, Jeong Dae feels deeply unwilling to accept it. He secretly gathers a few old members, but at first, the work is nothing more than watching venues and handling small dirty jobs. Then one day, the person who changes Jeong Dae's fate appears. Her name is Madam Min, a land speculator. Madam Min immediately notices Jeong Dae's ability, or maybe she also notices his looks. She gives Jeong Dae a job and promises him 500,000 won once it is done. At the time, the third Han River Bridge has just opened, and the government plans to build a second Seoul, which is the Gangnam district we know today. In other words, whoever controls first-hand information controls the key to wealth. Of course, the simple farmers have no idea that the land in their hands will one day become more valuable than gold. Jeong Dae's role is to work with Madam Min, using tricks, pressure, and force to buy up land. After the job is done, Madam Min gives Jeong Dae 1 million won. The extra 500,000 is an advance payment for the next job. But this job is harder than the last one, because as soon as Jeong Dae and his men arrive, they discover that Chang Deok-jae has already taken the land first. It turns out that after the Jangon gang collapsed, Chang Deok-jae became Assemblyman Seo's underworld fixer, while Yang Ji-taek submitted to Assemblyman Park, the man in glasses. Under the orders of the big boss, Minister Kim, the 2 assemblymen each direct their gangs to seize land in Gangnam. Whoever performs better will win more favor from Minister Kim. Jeong Dae knows that with his current strength, he still cannot go against Chang Deok-jae, but 2 things push Jeong Dae to climb upward no matter what. First, his younger sister Seon-hae has fallen in love, but because his family is poor, he secretly feels ashamed. Second, the loan sharks are pressing harder and harder, and they even set fire to the laundry shop, while Gil-soo only sits inside helplessly and does not dare make a sound. Jeong Dae steps forward and drives the thugs away, then throws 500,000 won in their faces. For this family, he has to make more money. Only then does he tell Gil-soo the truth. Jeong Dae's only hope is that Gil-soo will not stop him. That night, Jeong Dae leads his men into Chang Deok-jae's warehouse.
없이 살아도 사람답게 살았으면 좋겠다.
미싱질 백날 해봐야 일당 50원도 못 받습니다. 언제 사람처럼 살겠습니까?
Inside, Zhang Dae finds the land deed he came for, but just as they are about to leave, Zhang Diakje's men drag a man inside. Zhang Dae realizes that the scar-faced man leading them is the same killer who attacked Gilsu that night, and the man they have kidnapped is Yongki, who has been missing for 3 years. Zhang Dae tells his men to leave first with the deed. Then, just as the others are about to bury Yongki alive, Zhang Dae strikes without hesitation, takes down 4 men by himself, and quickly rescues Yongki from the dirt. After 3 years apart, the 2 brothers are finally reunited. Yongki tells Zhang Dae that after the chaotic fight, he got on the wrong bus by mistake and somehow ended up inside Yang Ji-taek's gang. With his ruthless style, he has now become one of Yang Ji-taek's trusted men, but he does not tell Zhang Dae that behind the scenes, he has also taken Yang Ji-taek's woman. Because Yongki acts too boldly, the old members of the gang are all watching him closely, and after he took out Chang Diakje's second-in-command last time, his position has become extremely dangerous. But in front of Zhang Dae, he still pretends to be full of confidence. Meanwhile, during a deeper conversation with Madame Min, Zhang Dae receives an important piece of information. Chang Diakje has been working for Assemblyman Seo for the past 3 years, but recently Assemblyman Seo was planning to return to politics, and Chang Diakje's past dirty work has become Assemblyman Seo's biggest problem. Zhang Dae quietly remembers those words. If he wants to climb onto Assemblyman Seo's tree of power, removing Chang Diakje is the best gift he can offer. But when he tells Gilsu about the scar-faced killer's attack, Gilsu does not seem surprised at all. It turns out Gilsu has known the truth for a long time. He warns Zhang Dae not to take revenge for him, or he will cut ties with Zhang Dae. But Zhang Dae is young, aggressive, and already one step away from his goal. At this point, how could he possibly stop? After that, he goes to Yongki again. After all, Chang Diakje has always wanted Yongki dead, so Zhang Dae hopes Yongki can help him act together. On the night of Xianhai's engagement ceremony, Zhang Dae is the only one missing. Zhang Dae storms into the scar-faced killer's room alone, using the same method the man once used against Gilsu. Zhang Dae ends him one strike at a time. At the same time, Zhang Dae's men also move. In one night, they remove all of Chang Diakje's core men. Finally, inside a bathhouse, Yongki and Zhang Dae join forces and make Chang Diakje's life stop forever on that night. Afterward, through Madame Min's introduction, Zhang Dae meets Assemblyman Seo. Looking at the young man in front of him, Assemblyman Seo tests him and asks, "If you want to work for me, aren't you afraid Chang Diakje will be unhappy?" But Zhang Dae's next words leave Assemblyman Seo frozen in place.
제가 이미 잘라냈습니다.
뭐?
앞으로 그 양반 때문에 의원님 사업에 지장받는 일은 없을 겁니다.
When Gilsu hears the news of Chang Diakje's death, he punches Zhang Dae in the face. But Zhang Dae's wishes for Gilsu to return to the underworld and lead them to rebuild the Jandon gang. Gilsu refuses him once again. That night, with Assemblyman Seo's arrangements behind the scenes, Zhang Dae officially rises to a high position in the gang. He gives Xianhai a grand wedding. After that, he also wants to reserve another piece of land in Gangnam for Gilsu and Xianhai. He invites Yongki to join the Jandon gang under him, but Zhang Dae clearly ignores Yongki's ambition to never live beneath anyone. What Yongki wants is to replace Yang Ji-taek and take his position. At a meeting, Yongki hears Assemblyman Park ordering Yang Ji-taek to take another piece of land. Then he deliberately turns around and tells Zhang Dae the information. As expected, Zhang Dae gets there before Yang Ji-taek and delivers the land deed to Assemblyman Seo. But this action soon brings Yang Ji-taek's revenge. Yang Ji-taek brutally beats him and leaves a threat behind. If Zhang Dae does not want to die, he must exchange the deed for his life. On the other side, Yongki immediately tells Gilsu that Zhang Dae is in trouble. Hearing this, Gilsu, who has stayed away from the streets for years, immediately leads his brothers to the scene. Yongki's real goal is to start a war between the two gangs. Although Gilsu has been retired for years, the power he shows with one axe has not faded at all. To keep anyone from realizing that Yongki is the one behind it all, he even deliberately cuts Yongki's leg. After a desperate fight, they finally rescue the barely breathing Zhang Dae. When Yang Ji-taek learns that Zhang Dae has been taken away, He is furious. He goes to Assemblyman Park and wants to start a full war immediately, but Assemblyman Park stops the impulsive young Gi-take. Not long after, the authorities launch an anti-gang operation. All the younger members of the Gangnam gang are arrested, and Gil-soo is treated as the boss of the Gangnam gang and listed as the top suspect. In one night, the Gangnam gang nearly collapses, with some brothers running and others being arrested. At this moment, Young-ki does not forget to pour more fuel onto Jung-dae's fire. Through Young Gi-take's woman, he finds out that Young Gi-take and his people have been secretly taking money behind the big boss's back. To obtain the evidence, Jung-dae has his men stage a very suspicious car accident, then sends a charming mature woman to handle the situation. After one night, when Jung-dae lifts the blanket, the woman has somehow been replaced by a man. Under the pressure of the hidden photos, the high official has no choice but to reveal how they used the big boss's name to make money for themselves. With this information, Assemblyman Seo can use it in front of the big boss to take down Assemblyman Park. Jung-dae's only request is that Assemblyman Seo use his connections to release Gil-soo and the other brothers. The next day, Assemblyman Seo goes to the big boss and exposes all the dirty secrets of Assemblyman Park and Young Gi-take. In an instant, Assemblyman Seo once again becomes a favored man in front of Minister Kim.
중심 얘기하는 놈 치고 사심 없는 놈 없어.
야전에 있을 때 선배님 군화까지 닦던 이 서태군이 아닙니까?
On the day he is released from prison, Gil-soo sits in the boss's seat, but then he does something no one expects. He announces that the Gangnam gang will be disbanded again. Jung-dae cannot understand what Gil-soo is trying to do, but the next day, Gil-soo actually kneels before Young Gi-take. He promises Young Gi-take that he will take Jung-dae and leave Seoul, begging only for Young Gi-take to spare their lives. Seeing the hatred between the two gangs about to be resolved by Gil-soo once again, Young-ki has no choice but to make a deadly move. He secretly goes to the laundry shop, using the excuse that he is looking for Jung-dae. Then, when Gil-soo is not prepared, he finishes Gil-soo with an electric iron. Young-ki tells Jung-dae that Young Gi-take sent someone to take out Gil-soo. He also lies and says Young Gi-take will wipe them all out on the day of Gil-soo's burial. But while Young-ki is speaking, Jung-dae still notices the marks around Young-ki's neck. On the day of the burial, heavy rain pours down, as if even the sky is warning that a major battle is about to begin. This is a fight for survival. Jung-dae holds a black umbrella and drives it coldly into his opponent. The last time anyone saw someone fight with an umbrella like this, it was probably Wang Fei-hong. Just then, Young-ki also arrives at the scene with a large group of men. The men from Myeongdonpa think he has come to help them, but unexpectedly, Young-ki turns his weapon around and joins the others in attacking Myeongdonpa. At the same time, all the hidden men from the Gangnam gang rush out together. This creates one of the most shocking gang war scenes in film history. It is just like the famous line from Preface to the Pavilion of Prince Teng, only now it has become autumn waters and the endless sky share one color. Axes and gangsters fly together. When this battle ends, Myeongdonpa is completely destroyed. The authorities also officially announced the overall plan to develop Gangnam. Assemblyman Park is arrested and investigated by the relevant departments, bringing his story to an end. Only Young Gi-take escapes in panic, while all the land deeds once held by Assemblyman Park are transferred into Assemblyman Seo's hands. But immediately after that, Assemblyman Seo gives Jung-dae a new order.
양기태, 백용기, 단디 청소해라.
He also promises that from now on, all development projects in Gangnam will be handed over to Jung-dae. But at that moment, Jung-dae feels an inexplicable danger. On the other side, Young-ki finally gets what he wants and sits in the boss's seat, in front of all his brothers. He also marries Young Gi-take's woman, because by now, she is already carrying Young-ki's child. But all night, there is not the slightest smile on Jung Dae's face, because Jung Dae has already found out that the real person who killed Gil-soo is Young-ki. Jung Dae's heart is trapped in hesitation.
나 버린 애미 존나게 욕하고 살았는데 막상 내가 애비 된다니까 기분이 묘하다.
Not long after, they find Young Ji-taek inside a movie theater. The two brothers work together and take Young Ji-taek down inside the theater, but just as they are about to move the body into the restroom, Jung Dae points a gun at Young-ki, because Jung Dae has already guessed that Young-ki's men have been hiding inside the restroom. Unexpectedly, the men who come to surround them are actually fighters Jung Dae arranged in advance. At the same time, Jung Dae fires at Young-ki, but at the final moment, Jung Dae still softens. He does not want Young-ki's child to grow up like them and become another orphan.
배경기 멀리 가라.
No one knows whether Assemblyman Seo had already predicted this step. In the end, Young-ki, sitting inside the car, is shot by a mysterious gunman, and Jung Dae is also shot twice on the train. Inside that tunnel that seems to have no end, Jung Dae sees Seon-hai waiting for him in a daze at the far end. Unfortunately, he can no longer crawl to the end. At this moment, he finally seems to understand why Gil-soo always tried to stop him at the most critical moments. Maybe the script of his life had already been written from the moment he was born. If time could turn back, the place he would want to return to the most would probably be that broken old hut. That is the end of the movie. See you in the next story.